Fishing with dry flies is arguably the most exciting way to fly fish. There's nothing quite like watching a nice fish come up and smack your dry fly. Today we're going to talk about the 3 most effective dry fly rigs and how to set them up step by step. We'll start with the most simple rig and the easiest to set up, and that's a single dry fly rig. You'll use this rig when bugs are clearly hatching, fish are coming to the surface, and when you need to get that presentation dialed in with a good drag-free drift. And because you're using a single dry fly, the chances of you getting that good presentation and eliminating drag, it's pretty high. You'll also reduce those dreaded tangles. You know, those ones where you set up your rod for 20 minutes, you make one cast, you look down, your line looks like a bowl of spaghetti. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be fishing than untangling knots. All right, to set up this single dry fly rig, you'll first attach your leader to your fly line using a loop-to-loop connection or a nail knot. If you need them, both of those knot tutorials are linked in the video description. The general guideline is to use a leader that's the same length as your rod. So if you're using a standard 9-foot 5-weight rod, you'll go with a 9-foot leader. The size of the leader is dependent on the size, weight, and wind resistance of the fly. We've done an entire video on picking the right size leader, also in the video description, but for dry flies, a good rule of thumb is 4X for your bigger dry flies, so that's your sizes 10 to 14, 5X for your medium to small, so that sizes 14 to 20, and 6X for your really small flies. We're talking sizes 20 plus. Now that we have the right size leader, we'll attach our fly to the thin end of our leader using a clinch knot. Again, tutorial in the description. After we've attached our dry fly, we'll grab some fly floating. This is a gel style liquid that you just put onto your flies before you start fishing. It helps repel water and keeps them riding high on the water for longer. There are a million different kinds of floating. They're all pretty similar, so just grab one, add it to your fly, and you're ready to fish. But there may be times when the fly you have tied on is just too small and hard to see. That's when we'll go to a double dry fly rig. Again, I mostly use this rig when I'm fishing a small dry fly that's hard to see, or if I want to fish 2 different stages of a hatch, like the adult dun and an emerger at the same time. In situations like that, using a double dry fly rig can be super effective. First, we'll attach our leader to the fly line like we did with the single dry fly rig. Then attach our first dry fly. And just like we're tapering down from our thicker fly line down to the thin end of that leader, we want to taper our entire rig, including the flies. This is going to make casting a whole lot easier and reduce your chance of tangles. So we'll attach that bigger dry fly first, like this size 12 elk hair caddis. Then snip off about 20 inches of tippet. 20 inches might seem a bit excessive, but if your tippet is too short in between both of your dry flies, that first fly is going to pull on that second fly and cause a bunch of drag. No bueno. And to keep that taper going, sometimes it's a good idea to go one size smaller than the leader. Then I'll take that piece of tippet and attach it to the bend of the first dry fly's hook. And we'll attach the other end to my second dry fly. To finish it off, we'll add some floating to both of my dry flies and we're ready to fish. Okay, so the third dry fly rig is absolutely hands down my favorite way to fish. Imagine if you could double your chances of catching a fish by fishing both a dry fly on the surface and a nymph underwater, both at the exact same time. In fact, this rig is so effective, it deserves a video of its own. Check it out right here.